My name is Elena Martinez. I'm 31 years old, and I'm about to tell you how my mother-in-law tried to upstage me on my wedding day, and how I returned the favor 3 years later in the most spectacular way possible. This is a story about boundary stomping, family warfare, and the sweetest revenge I've ever tasted. But before we get into it, you need to understand one thing: I'm not a petty person. I'm a strategic person. There's a difference. If you've ever had a mother-in-law from hell, hit that subscribe button right now because this story is going to be wild. And trust me, you're going to want to see how this ends. Let me take you back to June 2020. I was 28 years old, engaged to the love of my life, Daniel. We'd been together for 4 years. He was perfect, kind, supportive, hilarious, successful. There was just one problem. His mother, Patricia. Patricia was one of those women who believed no one would ever be good enough for her precious baby boy. And from the moment Daniel introduced me to her, she made it her mission to prove I wasn't worthy. But what she did at my wedding, that crossed a line I didn't even know existed. And what I did at hers? Well, keep watching. The first time I met Patricia was at a family dinner at her house in Greenwich, Connecticut. Her home was massive, colonial style, perfectly manicured lawn, the kind of place that screamed old money. I wore a nice dress, brought expensive wine, did everything right. Patricia opened the door, looked me up and down, and her first words were, "Oh, you're ethnic." I'm Mexican-American, 3rd generation. My family has been in the US longer than most people's, but that didn't matter to Patricia. Daniel squeezed my hand. "Mom, this is Elena. Elena, this is my mother." "Patricia," she corrected, not offering her hand. "Please, come in. Wipe your feet." Dinner was a nightmare. She spent 2 hours asking me passive-aggressive questions. "So Elena, what do your parents do?" "My dad's a contractor. My mom's a nurse." "Oh, how hard-working." "Daniel's father was a federal judge, you know." "Daniel went to Yale. I went to Cornell," I said. "Oh, a state school," she replied. Even though Cornell is Ivy League, she served everyone else first, gave me the smallest portions, and accidentally forgot to offer me dessert. When we left, Daniel apologized profusely. "She's just protective. She'll warm up to you." She did not warm up to me. Over the next 3 years, Patricia did everything she could to break us up. She forgot to invite me to family events. She set Daniel up on dates with daughters of her country club friends. She told him I was clearly after his money even though I made more than him as a software engineer. When Daniel proposed, I knew the real battle was just beginning. And I was right. If you're already invested in this story, do me a favor and drop a comment right now telling me the worst thing your mother-in-law ever did. I want to know I'm not alone here. The wedding planning was World War III. Patricia inserted herself into everything. She tried to take over the venue selection, the guest list, the menu, the flowers, everything. "Elena, dear, I really think you should reconsider this Mexican-themed catering. Daniel's family is very traditional. Perhaps something more appropriate?" "It's not Mexican-themed, Patricia. It's just good food. And half of it is Italian, which Daniel chose." "Well, I'm just thinking of the guests. Some people have delicate stomachs." She tried to invite 150 people from her side alone. People Daniel hadn't seen since he was a child. She wanted to change my color scheme from emerald green and gold to something more classic, like blush and ivory. She hated my dress, hated my venue, hated everything. But Daniel and I held firm. This was our wedding. 2 weeks before the wedding, Patricia called me. "Elena, I need to know what color dress you'd like me to wear. I want to make sure I don't clash with your bridesmaids." Finally, she was being considerate. "The bridesmaids are in emerald green," I said. "So anything but white, ivory, cream, or green would be perfect. Maybe a nice navy or burgundy?" "Of course, dear. I would never wear white to someone else's wedding. That would be tacky." I should have known better. June 20th, 2020. My wedding day. The venue was perfect. A historic garden estate in Westchester. The weather was beautiful. My dress was stunning. A fitted ivory gown with lace details that had cost me $3,000. I was in the bridal suite with my bridesmaids, getting ready, when my maid of honor, Jessica, burst in. "Elena, we have a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Patricia kind of problem." My stomach dropped. What did she do? You need to see this. I walked to the window overlooking the ceremony site. Guests were arriving, taking their seats. And then I saw her. Patricia. In a white dress. Not off-white. Not cream. Not ivory, pure white. Bridal, white. It was a floor-length gown with lace sleeves and a small train. She looked like a bride. She was literally dressed as a competing bride at my wedding. I felt my vision go red. "That bitch," Jessica said. "Want me to spill red wine on her?" "No," I said, my voice eerily calm. "Not yet. Let me think. If you're watching this and you think I should have confronted her right then, comment confront. If you think I should have played the long game, comment long game. Let me know what you would have done." Daniel came to the bridal suite. He'd seen her too. "Elena, I'm so sorry. I'll talk to her. I'll make her change." "No," I said. "Don't." "What? If you make her change, she'll play the victim. She'll cry. She'll make a scene. She'll ruin the ceremony anyway. Let her wear the dress." "Are you sure?" I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "I'm sure. Because everyone is going to see exactly who she is. And trust me, Daniel, I'm going to remember this." The ceremony proceeded. Patricia sat in the front row in her white dress, beaming, completely shameless. I could hear the gasps, the whispers. Guests were horrified. Even Daniel's family members were giving Patricia dirty looks. My photographer, God bless her, took maybe 2 photos with Patricia in them, and she was always strategically positioned in the background or cut off at awkward angles. In our official wedding album, Patricia barely existed. The reception was worse. Patricia gave a toast. "I'm so happy for my son. Daniel has always had such a big heart, always wanting to help people, to lift them up. Elena is very lucky to have found someone so generous." The implication was clear. I was a charity case. Daniel was helping me by marrying me. I sat there smiling, holding Daniel's hand under the table, squeezing so hard my nails left marks. "I'm going to kill her," Daniel whispered. "No," I whispered back. "I'm going to do something better." That night, after the wedding, I started planning. Patricia had humiliated me in front of 200 people. She'd tried to make my wedding day about her. She'd worn white to assert dominance, to send a message. "Daniel belongs to me, not you." Fine. She wanted to play games? I'd play. But I'd play to win. Before we get to the revenge, hit that like button if you think Patricia deserves what's coming to her. And make sure you're subscribed because the second half of this story is insane. For 3 years, I played the perfect daughter-in-law. I showed up to every family event with a smile. I brought thoughtful gifts. I complimented Patricia's cooking. I never brought up the white dress. I was polite, kind, gracious. Daniel was confused. "How are you so calm around her? After what she did?" "I'm not calm," I said. "I'm patient." There's a difference. Patricia, emboldened by the fact that I'd never confronted her, got worse. She'd drop by our apartment unannounced. She'd rearrange our furniture. She'd criticize my cooking. She'd make comments about when we were going to give her grandchildren, preferably ones who look like Daniel, not too mixed. I smiled through it all, because I was waiting. And then, in December 2022, it happened. Daniel's father, Richard, filed for divorce. Turns out Richard had been miserable for 30 years. He'd met someone else, a kind woman named Susan who worked at his law firm. He'd finally found the courage to leave. Patricia was devastated. Not because she loved Richard, they'd slept in separate bedrooms for a decade, but because she was losing her status. Her identity was Mrs. Richard Caldwell, wife of a federal judge. Without that, she was just Patricia. The divorce was finalized in March 2023. Richard got the house in Greenwich. Patricia got a generous settlement but had to downsize to a condo in Stamford. And then, 6 months later, Richard proposed to Susan. They were getting married. October 2023. Small ceremony, intimate reception. And here's the thing. Richard and I had always gotten along. He'd apologized privately for Patricia's behavior at my wedding. He'd always been kind to me. So when he and Susan sent us an invitation, I RSVP'd yes immediately. Daniel was shocked. "You want to go to my dad's wedding? Mom is going to be there. It's going to be so awkward." "I know," I said. "That's exactly why I want to go. Because I'd just learned something very interesting from Daniel's sister, Ashley. Patricia was planning to wear white to Richard's wedding. She was going to show up in a white dress to her ex-husband's wedding to his new wife, to make a statement, to ruin Susan's day the same way she'd ruined mine. And that's when I knew, this was my moment. Comment below if you can already guess what I'm about to do. I want to see if anyone sees this coming. I had 3 months to plan. First, I reached out to Susan. I barely knew her, but I took her to lunch. Susan, I need to tell you something. Patricia is planning to wear white to your wedding. Susan's face fell. I was afraid of that. Richard warned me she might try something. What if we had a plan to handle it? Susan leaned forward. I'm listening. I laid it out for her. The whole plan. By the end, Susan was smiling. Elena, that's brilliant. But are you sure? You'll be making an enemy for life. She already is my enemy, I said. At least this way, she'll know I'm not someone she can mess with. Susan agreed. Next, I went shopping. I needed the perfect dress. I tried on 20 different options before I found it. A stunning, floor-length white gown with off-shoulder sleeves and subtle beading. It was elegant, bridal, and absolutely inappropriate for a wedding guest. It was perfect. I also bought a second outfit, a beautiful burgundy cocktail dress, just in case I needed plausible deniability. 2 weeks before the wedding, I mentioned to Daniel that I'd bought a dress. What color? He asked. Burgundy. It's really pretty. He didn't ask to see it. Men never do. The week of the wedding, I called Ashley. I need you to do something for me, anything. Find out exactly what Patricia is wearing. Colors, style, everything. Ashley came through. Patricia had bought a white lace tea-length dress with a fascinator, a hat with feathers. She was going full mother of the bride at her ex-husband's wedding to someone else. Perfect. The night before the wedding, I packed both dresses, the burgundy one on top, the white one hidden underneath. Daniel saw me packing. You're bringing 2 dresses? The burgundy one is my main dress. The white one is for the rehearsal dinner tonight. I lied smoothly. There was no rehearsal dinner. But Daniel didn't know that. Make sure you're still with me. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're ready for this revenge. It's about to get good. October 14th, 2023. Richard and Susan's wedding day. The ceremony was at a beautiful boutique hotel in Litchfield County. Small, elegant, about 60 guests. I arrived with Daniel. I was wearing the burgundy dress. Patricia was already there, holding court in her white lace dress and ridiculous fascinator, making sure everyone saw her. Oh, Elena, she said when she saw me. How nice of you to wear something appropriate. Not everyone understands wedding etiquette. The irony was lost on her. The ceremony was lovely. Susan looked beautiful in her champagne-colored gown, not traditional white, which was a smart choice given Patricia's presence. Richard beamed. You could tell he was genuinely happy. Patricia sat in the back row, arms crossed, glaring. After the ceremony, there was a cocktail hour before the reception. This was my window. I excused myself to the restroom. I went to my car. I grabbed the garment bag with the white dress. In the bathroom, I changed. When I walked back into the cocktail hour in my white gown, the reaction was immediate. Gasps, whispers, heads turning. I walked straight up to Patricia, who was holding a glass of champagne, and stood next to her. 2 women, both in white dresses, both at someone else's wedding. Patricia's face went purple. What are you wearing? A dress, I said innocently. Why? Is something wrong? You can't wear white to a wedding. Really? I said loudly, so others could hear. That's interesting. Because you're wearing white too. Every single person in that room turned to look at us. Patricia sputtered. That's different. I'm Richard's ex-wife. I have a special role. What role is that exactly? I asked. The ex-wife who's bitter about his new marriage? I thought maybe we were starting a trend. You wore white to my wedding, so I figured it was okay to wear white to this one. I mean, if you can do it, why can't I? The room was dead silent. Susan appeared, right on cue, looking distressed. Oh my goodness, there must have been a miscommunication. Elena, didn't you get my text? I asked everyone to avoid white because... She glanced at Patricia. Well, I knew Patricia was planning to wear it, and I didn't want her to feel awkward, but beautiful. Susan was a natural. Now everyone knew, Patricia had planned this. Patricia had deliberately worn white to her ex-husband's wedding, and I had simply matched her energy. Patricia's face was scarlet. I didn't. This isn't... It's okay, Patricia, I said sweetly. I totally understand wanting to wear white to a wedding you're not the bride at. It's bold. It's confident. I learned from the best. If you think Patricia deserved this, hit that like button right now. And comment karma if you believe what goes around comes around. Ashley appeared at my side, trying not to laugh. Elena, I have that burgundy shawl in my car if you want to change. Oh, you know what? I think I will. This dress is a bit much. Patricia, do you want to borrow something too? I'd hate for you to feel uncomfortable. Patricia turned and walked away without a word. I changed back into my burgundy dress. Patricia stayed in her white dress, but now everyone knew exactly what she'd done. Every conversation, every whisper was about her. She'd been exposed. Susan's wedding was saved. Patricia's reputation was destroyed. At the reception, Richard came up to me. He was trying not to smile. That was quite a statement, Elena. I learned from experience, I said. Thank you, he said quietly. For 3 years, I've watched her try to break you and Daniel. You never rose to the bait. But this was perfect. She needed to learn she can't treat people like that without consequences. He hugged me. Welcome to the family. The real family. The fallout was spectacular. Patricia didn't speak to me for 6 months. She tried to turn Daniel's extended family against me, but it didn't work. Everyone had seen what she did. Everyone knew she'd worn white to Richard's wedding deliberately. And when they found out she'd done the same thing at my wedding 3 years earlier, the family turned on her. She went from matriarch to pariah overnight. Daniel's aunts called her out at Christmas. Patricia, wearing white to TO weddings? What were you thinking? His cousins stopped inviting her to events. Even her country club friends started distancing themselves. She tried to apologize to me once, 6 months later, at a family Easter dinner. Elena, I think there's been a misunderstanding about the white dress situation. Which one? I asked innocently. Mine or Susan's? She had no answer. Patricia, here's the thing. You wore white to my wedding to make a statement. You wanted to show me that Daniel was still yours, that I was an outsider, that I didn't matter. So when you planned to do the same thing to Susan, I decided to show you how it feels. I wanted you to experience exactly what you put me through. It's not the same, she said weakly. You're right. It's not. Because, unlike you, I changed out of the white dress. I made my point and moved on. You stayed in yours all night, even after everyone knew what you'd done. That says everything about the difference between us. She left the dinner early. These days, Patricia is diminished. She still tries to maintain her superiority, but no one takes her seriously anymore. She's the woman who wore white to 2 weddings. That's her legacy. Daniel and I are thriving. We just bought a house. We're talking about kids. His relationship with his dad is better than ever. And Richard and Susan, they send us Christmas cards with pictures of them traveling the world, genuinely happy. Sometimes people ask me if I feel guilty about what I did. I don't. Patricia spent years trying to make me feel small, unwelcome, unworthy. She humiliated me on what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. All I did was hold up a mirror and show her exactly who she was. If you enjoyed this story, do me 3 favors. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share it with anyone who's dealt with a nightmare mother-in-law. Let's build a community of people who refuse to be doormats. Some people say revenge is petty. I say revenge is poetry when it's done right. Patricia wore white to my wedding, so I wore white to hers. And that, my friends, is what we call poetic justice. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next story.